What's up, fight fans? So we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin, and where do all fights start? Round one. We have an amazing show for you today. As you tune in, let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. We're going to be breaking down a lot of these fights that have happened over the weekend and further up back to the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. We're going to be talking about David Morrell and David the Monster Benavidez and what this means for boxing. So, fight fans, if you want to talk about your latest in boxing news, here we'll have a live chat. Join us here at Round One Sports TV. So, man, been a lot that's been said about boxing in the world, in social media, in boxing sports. And it really stems from this Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, if you ask me. Um, a lot of people after the fight, you know, the distaste and they were left with the expectation of Mike Tyson performing at a level that many of us didn't think he wasn't going to be able to do anyway, right? What's up, Armando? My man, always in the building. How you doing, brother? Thank you. So, so like Tyson, Father Time, man, he's undefeated and it showed. I really thought that Mike Tyson would be, such a veteran boxer and so many years in boxing that he would shorten up his fighting game and find a way to get to Jake Paul. Jake Paul obviously saw that, going toe to toe with Mike, he still had a little sting in his punch. And I'm trying to tell the world that, a lot of videos have been made that Jake Paul leaned over and, leaned in on Mike and said something to him. And, you know, look, were you in the ring? Did you hear what he said to him? No. How many times can you take somebody's lips and put in your words and slow it down and make it look like he said some shit? I've seen thousands of NFL games where they make fun of the guys and they have them say weird things, you know, like I like donkey shoes, and that's not what he really said. So, look, all your skepticism aside, if you really watch the fight, Jake Paul was trying to knock out Mike Tyson. He heard him several times. When he heard him, he got a little nervous himself. He knew Mike had a little there. Mike touched him once or twice in the fight. So he knew it. It was there. He just couldn't give Mike that. And in the end, he conceded in the notion that he tried to play like fair sportsmanship. Like, you know what I mean? Jake Paul tried to like nod and show like, oh, I'm not gonna really hurt the legend. You know how many death threats Jake Paul got leading into that fight? If you hurt Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, you know how many death threats he got? So at the end, it was at his best interest to like bow and kind of like concede in the notion that you just went so many rounds with the former undisputed world champion of the world and Iron Mike Tyson. So when he shows respect like that, he can't win because now he's like blowing the fight or whatever. He couldn't knock out Mike Tyson, bro. And Mike can take a moral victory and say, well, at least I'm the first fighter you fought against that you didn't knock down or knock out. Because leading into that fight, either Jake Paul either knocked you down or knocked you out in a fight. So he didn't do that to 58-year-old Mike Tyson, right? Okay. Then other people are going to say that Mike Tyson threw the fight. Really? Mike Tyson threw the fight, you think? Really? Okay. Why would he throw the fight? He's already getting paid $20 million to do the best he can. He already getting paid. You beat Jake Paul, you get paid. You lose, you get paid. So just go out there and do your best. Why throw the fight? You're already getting paid $20 million. And then you're going to say, yeah, he got paid $20 million to throw the fight. Come on, man. Come on, man. Really? So all the criticism that Mike's getting, he signed up for all that? The way he looked like in some circles with the brothers. You mean to tell me you couldn't knock this boy out, Mike? So Mike was down with all that. You quick to say, oh yeah, he took a dive for 20. Man, in front of his people? Really? And he's cool with that. His legacy, everything. His name. You gonna let this dude right here, him, out of all fighters, this guy, you think Mike signed up for that? Nah. He was going in there to try to give it, and just, it was what it was, bro. Father Time is undefeated, bro. Mike couldn't do shit. Mike was old. He was slow. He ain't had a gas tank. He barely could take the punches. He was in over his head at 58 years old. That's what you saw. He gave it his best. That's all you could do. That's all he had. That was it. And because gamblers that lost money and people that couldn't accept what he looked like, they didn't have to pay him $20 million to throw this fight. They already knew the outcome before when they gave him the money. They said, Mike, you really gonna take this fight? He said, yeah. And they said, okay, we're gonna give you $20 million. Because why are we gonna pay you handsomely? Why? Because you're gonna embarrass yourself. You're gonna embarrass yourself, and you're gonna get all the, but we're gonna pay you well. Yeah, yo, can I try to win? Yeah, go out there, do whatever you want. 58. Really? Well, what we thought, man? And I thought that, damn, man, if anybody could be the $6 million man, might be Mike. But I guess I was wrong. Maybe I was looking at it biasly, because in my heart to heart, I didn't want to be that guy to be like, oh, you went against Mike? Hell no. Especially the way I looked up to that man. Like, I kind of felt like I couldn't go against him. But what I felt like was going to happen was, yeah, everything we thought. The younger man was going to win. We all thought that. We knew that coming into this. We knew that. We hyped ourselves up, man. And we got behind Mike, bro. He just couldn't do it, bro. He's still my hero, Mike. He still went in there with Jake Paul, man. And he showed him young boys, bro. He didn't wither under Jake Paul's power. No, he didn't. You couldn't knock him down, Jake Paul. You couldn't knock him out. Hey, Mike did great if you ask me. Against you? 20, what is he, 27 years old? Come on, man, dropping everybody. Oh, really? You couldn't knock out? Okay. So, hey, man. And then boxing took a hit. No sooner that the fight finished, all of a sudden, is this good for boxing? Is this bad for boxing? What's this mean for boxing? I think that this night was bad for boxing. Really? Really? Okay. You know how these people, they want to inflate the numbers sometime to, you know, try to say that things were a success, right? Right? They try to inflate the numbers or whatever, right? So they said, what was it? 60. Now they're saying 120. Double that. 120 million people tuned in, right? $20 million at the gate. That's what they're yelling all over social media. Whether or not I know these numbers to be true, I'm not the bookie. I'm not there. Don't hold me on that. This is what's being reported, right? Okay. Whether or not it was 60 million, 120 million, 20 million at the gate, or $15 million at the gate, you can tell that this was a big event. And there were a lot of eyes in this event. True indeed, Netflix is going to have to step up their game in streaming this, because a lot of us saw like wavy lines, and this was their first event. Okay, Netflix, I'm not mad at you. Get your shit together. You guys are a multi-billion-dollar company. Multi-billion-dollar company. I know you guys can fix this shit when you got people buying new subscriptions or the promise you were offered. Show us a fight. We would like to see it though, right? Without no interruptions. Okay? So, you found my twin brother for real. What the hell y'all talking about? Bam, I see your shit, bro. What's going on? Talk to me. What you mean you found my twin brother? All right, we're gonna talk about that. You got David B. Morrell? Okay. What's up with all the laughing emojis? So, before you guys interrupted me, okay? So, guys were saying that, you know, this was a bad look for boxing because of Mike's performance, that it really didn't live up to expectations or what have you. Okay. So, whether or not it did all these numbers, right? A few days later, how many fighters went in and jumped in Jake Paul's DM and asked or basically begged for a fight? The heavyweight champion of the world, the IBF champion of the world, in Dubois, jumps into Jake Paul's DM and, I'm not going to say begged, but he basically said, fight me. Why would you think that the heavyweight champion of the world would ask Jake Paul to schedule a match between him and him? You know what Jake Paul told him? Get in line, because I got a lot of other people in front of you. I'll keep you as an option. The heavyweight champion of the world. And you're going to tell me that that was bad for boxing? That the heavyweight champion of the world says, shit, give me that much money. I'll fight you, because he ain't going to, man, listen. You know how many people other than the heavyweight champion of the world this past weekend has jumped into Jake Paul's, man, from Tank Davis, you name it. You name it. And as I'm on this live right now, there's probably other boxers challenging him right now. But yet, the question what came up, was this bad for boxing? Really? Was it bad for boxing? This young man has got all your champions wanting to line up to fight him. And the list is still going on. He's telling him, like he told the rest of them, get in line. He making money. He getting money, bro. Jake Paul is getting money, bro. And I gotta admit that the fight card that he put on was pretty damn good. There was some pretty good fights on that. Man, Mario Barrios went down, bro. Mario Barrios went down, man. I saw Mario Barrios gasping. He needed a little break in the ring. He was like, that was a pretty good fight. Mario Barrios drops him. I believe Mario Barrios dropped him like in the second round or some shit like that, right? Then, Bruce Carrington was on the card. How'd you guys think he looked? I thought his competition was better, right? Even better than the last guy. And he looked like trash against the last guy. Bruce Carrington got help. He might have lost that fight. Okay? Now, his performance went up, right? In the sense of he looked better in shape, right? He also looked like he was not scared to throw his punches a little more and not relying on that leaping shot, where that he was a little bit more, he was boxing a little more and then doing that little leaping stuff, which I think later in his career might get him in trouble. A good coach and a good fighter will time him on that. They'll come up with a game plan to set him up to walk right into a big punch. I can see why Naoya Inoue wasn't that impressed when he got up and walked out on him. Now I see what he sees. That Bruce Carrington quickly, like a lot of these fighters, they try to push him along and put him against these great fighters right away. Jaron Boots Ennis against Terrence Crawford. And a lot of people in boxing are convinced that Jaron Ennis would just wipe down Terrence Crawford. And I think that Jaron Ennis, for as slick, for as polished as he looks, Terrence Crawford is just a bit more seasoned. And I think he brings more to the table, and he understands boxing at just a slightly above level than Jaron Boots Ennis. But what do I know? I think that Jaron Boots Ennis should prove himself just like Terrence Crawford did. But what do I know? Right? That card that Jake Paul put on was pretty good. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. Look, I'm over it. I've learned that in boxing and also trying to cover the sport and, bring you guys some of the things that are going on in boxing and explain some things, that I got to have a short memory and I got to just move on because I'll stay in my feelings, right? Because those ones kind of sting, if you know what I mean. Puerto Rico. You feel me? And I got to just keep it pushing. So as far as David the Monster Benavidez and David Morrell, I think that this is a big card. There's some pretty good, decent fighters on this card right here as well. Stephen Kubo Fulton's making a ring return against a little arch nemesis. You know what I'm saying? Figueroa, Brandon Figueroa, at 126. I thought he was big for him. I thought Brandon was big for Stephen Kubo Fulton at 122. I'm anxious to see what they look like at 126. Now, they both do have a common foe, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. What's his name? Brandon Figueroa stopped Carlos Castro. He stopped him. Now, if you don't remember, Carlos Castro fought against Stephen Kubo Fulton in his last fight when he moved up to 126, and Carlos Castro dropped Stephen Kubo Fulton, which he came back and won in the fight. Yes, but Brandon stopped him. You know what I'm saying? But Stephen, even though he got dropped in the fight, he looked better than what he did against Brandon in the first fight. I know it sounds a little bit like, if you're following me, right? Even though Steven got dropped in the fight against Carlos, this is what I'm saying. He looks better than what he did against Brandon when he fought him the first time at 122. I got to admit that. Stephen Kubo Fulton doesn't look like the same Stephen Kubo Fulton that fought him on that night. No. He got caught. Yeah, he got dropped. But he was looking pretty strong, bro. He got it together against Castro. He weathered the storm. Castro stunned him. It concerns me a little bit, just a little bit, when I hear Stephen Kubo Fulton talk about him getting dropped. He says, "Oh, it was nothing. It was nothing. It was a stun punch. I got up. It was nothing." Like, he doesn't even want to acknowledge it. And that worries me as a fighter. I mean, just because he's not taking it the way I would take it doesn't mean he's doing the wrong thing. He could be the type of man that, he's accepting that he's confident. He's nope. Yeah, it was a stun. It was so minute. I don't even address that. That's how confident I am as a fighter. He could be thinking that way, and I'm not going to say that plays good or bad. I have to think of this open-mindedly. Not every fighter is going to think or act or respond the way I think he should process the situation. So he's entitled to his arrogance as a fighter. I'm starting to see that right now as I talk, because I can't hate on like Stephen Kubo Fulton for being confident. I mean, that's what you want out of your fighter. So I guess in that way, in that regards, okay, now he's coming into this fight against a familiar opponent. He already fought him at 122. It was razor close. It could have went either way. Brandon feels like he won the fight. He's over it. He says, "Yo, I'm willing to put up my belt to get my get back." And that's pretty confident coming from a man that lost. So you can tell he really wants this back. He don't feel like he lost in the fight, And then you got the main event. David the Monster Benavidez making his ring return against David Morrell. This one right here. This one right here. No. This one right here. Right here. Listen, let's talk about it. Why don't we just throw up their records? But we can check out their records and see what we're working with here. All right. So there he is. David the Monster Benavidez. Now, he is currently suspended, right, by VADA Athletic Commission until 2024 12/13. So that's December 13th. So he's still suspended until then, right? Which their fight is going to happen February 1st. So it's been announced. They've had post-fight. I'm pretty sure you've seen it. If you haven't, Fight Hub has it. You can go check it out there. I saw it there. They had their first, their press conference, and they're gonna have they had their standoff and what have you. Every interview they do, they're at each other's. They're like two pit bulls. They're like, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? They want at each other bad. So This is my man right here. Now, this is how we break this down, just in case you are not familiar with how this works. I'm going to show you exactly how it works. It's self-explanatory. Once you see it, it's very easy to read. Now, his record is 29 fights. Underneath are his knockouts, 24 KOs. He has no losses and no draws or, no contests. That's where you get the blue. That's where they put those. Now, in here, you see where it says the globe right here? There's a little globe, right? That's where it says worldwide. There are 1,652 registered fighters at the 175-pound weight division. In the world, he is ranked number 3. In America, he is ranked number 1. He's the top American fighter. They have him registered as an American fighter because I guess he was born here. So yeah, he has 29 bouts and he has an 82% knockout ratio. He started his career in 2013 and it is still continuing, right? Now, under these belts, you're going to see that he has the WBC interim heavyweight and he has the WBC interim super middleweight, right? Now, forgive me if any of the fighters, because this is going to come up later when we watch David Morrell's record, the WBA world titles are not in Box Rec anymore. Box Rec does not acknowledge WBA world titles. And I've made videos about this. You can go check them out. So you're going to notice that they're not there. So, excuse me if you don't see them and you're going to, hey, wait a minute, this fight, I understand. Okay. Now, let's go on. He's 27 years old. He's 6'2". He has a 74-inch arm reach. Okay. Now, these were his first fights. When you read the fights, it says it right here. You see this? Okay, hold on. You see this right here? That says a 4-rounded fight, right? Okay. So he started his career with 4-round fights. That's important, guys. Some pros come from the amateurs. They jump right into 6-round fights. Some jump and get 1 4-round, or they continuously go 4 rounds. Some guys jump right into 8-round fights. They had an extensive amateur career, like Loma or something. They had like big time amateur careers and they were ready to make that leap. So as you can see here, David the Monster Benavidez fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His first 7 fights were 4-round fights, right? Then he had one 6-rounder, 8-rounder, back down to 6, 6, 8, 8, 8, 8, 10, back down to 8, 12, right? Then he went to 12. And this, in fact, is where he won his title, the WBC super middleweight title. This is where he won it. Remember, he ran it back. He had a split decision in the first one. He had a unanimous decision in the second one, right? Okay. He go forward, and he fought some really good competition too. You have names like Caleb Plant here, Demetrius Andre, David. All right. So David the Monster Benavidez, once upon a time, did own the WBC World Championship at 168 pounds. And he was stripped of the WBC World Championship due to recreational drug use outside of the sport of boxing. Since then, he has not been able to claim the WBC World Championship because Saul Canelo Alvarez, since he acquired it, has not acknowledged David the Monster Benavidez as being, I guess, a worthy opponent. And what other words can I put it? He's just simply not fighting the man. For over 2.5, almost 3 years, he's been his mandatory. And David has been more than vocal all over social media that he does, in fact, want the fight. Saul Canelo Alvarez apparently doesn't have his hearing aid on, or he can't hear him because he seems to be fighting everybody else but David the Monster Benavidez, and which brings us to the situation in the fight at hand. Both David the Monster Benavidez and David Morrell both left the 168-pound weight division because they saw no future. They saw no chance, and just even bending the knee to Saul Canelo Alvarez, that he would just spit it back in your face. Whatever he says, it goes. I have no other way to explain this to you. Which both men opted to leave the division because there's no future there for them. Why? Because they feel as though they are a threat to his crown, to Saul Canelo Alvarez's legacy. That if they were they're saying that if they was to schedule that fight, from that day forward, Saul Canelo Alvarez will no longer be champion. The next day, he will not wake up champion. So both these men left. And here we are. So soon? Wow. You mean to tell me that you guys can leave the weight division, both get a fight in between, and get the big fight like that? What's the holdup with Saul then? And this opens eyes to a lot of things that are going on in boxing as well. That these two men, in less than a month of campaigning for the fight, done. Huh? How the hell did that happen? Everybody wants to fight this man right here, and he can't seem to put the fight together. So here we are. So let's look up my man. Here we go. My Melly. Yo, you might want to put up another, you're making a little bit of money. I understand when you took this picture, you was dead broke, couldn't afford a lineup. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't hit your barber up. They was like, yo, you ready for your picture? You were like, this is my best dress right here. I'm broke. I'm skinny. I'm hungry. And now he got a little bit of bread right now. Might want to check up on that photo right there with BoxRec. Just send them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, here you go. You know what I mean? Touch that up. Well, my man only got 11 fights, as you can see here, with 9 knockouts. He has no losses and no controversial fights, right? 0 on that one, right? Around the world, he is ranked number 4. As Cuban fighters, there are only 9 Cuban fighters registered at 175 pounds. And out of the 9, he's number 1. So for representing Cuba, he's the number 1 175-pound fighter in the world. That's what that means right there, okay? He has an 81% knockout ratio. He started his career in 2019 with only 11 fights. Yeah, that sounds about right, right? So what you're not going to see here, right, is, like a huge list. He started his career, important, he started his career with a 6-round fight. Remember, David the Monster Benavidez started his career with 7 4-round fights. 7. He never even had a 4-round fight, as you can see right here. He started with a 6, and he quickly went up to an 8, and then he went up to 12 rounds. He went back down to 10 rounds, 12 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 rounds, and 12 rounds. I think that is important to note. He's been on 12-round championship level. When you schedule a 12-round fight, whether they go to the distance or not, I'm pretty sure you're training for a 12-round fight. You're not going into a 12-round fight doing training for 6 rounds. Right? Okay. Whether or not his opponent stuck around, that was up to them. He had to get him out. His last fight, of course, was that fight that he got a lot of controversy over, right? He fought him, and he didn't look that great. A lot of people, and he was like, yo, don't hold me to this fight, right? Okay. The fight before that, this is where you got to pay attention, right? Because the fight before that, he stops that opponent coming into that fight in the second round. The next fight after that, in the first round. Next fight after that, he went to 12 rounds here. 4 round, he stopped him in the fourth. He stopped him in the fourth. He stopped him in the first. In the third, he went 12 here. You see, okay. And when he's going 12 rounds, say like, okay, where was that fight right here? Right here. Okay. It shows he can go the distance. He just went the distance in his last fight, 12 rounds, right? So that's important, right? Because when we say guys have 11 fights, 12 fights, they might not be ready for those upper guys. But some of these guys that have like 10 fights, 12 fights, they're different. They're what they did was different. They didn't have like 12 fight and 6 of them were 4-round, 6-round fights. And then 4 more were like 8 and 10-round fights, and he only has one 12-round fight scheduled. So his experience with only having 11 fights versus his experience with 11 fights is a lot different. It shows that David Morrell was ready to go to this level early. Now, whether or not your opinion states on who would win the fight, now that's a totally different conversation that we can have right here, right? And if anybody wants to come up and share their opinion on the fight or talk about anything, matter of fact, today I'm going to drop the link. Feel free, step by, let me know what you think of the fight. What the hell did I do here now? I have no idea what this is. Why is this up? No. I must have pressed something wrong there. Okay, here we go. All right. Can you imagine if Amanda didn't get robbed Friday night too? Oh my God, freaking Bam Bam wants to bring it up. Yeah, I'm also proud of um our 105 Puerto Rican champion that became undisputed. What titles did he have? Uh I was wrong about the one that he had with the WBC. I remember that. So it was like the WBO and another one. I forget what other title it was, but I don't think it was the WBO and WBC. I'm not sure. For some reason, it's the WBA. I don't know. I forget what the belts were. I had so many fights popping in and out of my head and stuff. But congratulations to Puerto Rico becoming unified. That was an amazing night. If it wasn't for that right there, the Amanda fight would really, really sting a little. You know, um, because it did. Controversy aside, we saw what happened. We saw the deduction of points. I saw the scorecards at the end where Amanda outlanded her in shots and power shots. According to the judges themselves, Amanda landed in more power shots, more punches, and she like broke a woman's record in that ring against Katie Taylor and a deduction of points, and somehow she doesn't win. I don't understand. I mean, because so what you're saying, because Katie Taylor's punches were at some point more visible, or that's what you were paying attention to? Because according to your what you got on paper, Amanda landed more power shots. So let's just say, and she outlanded her in regular punches. So let's just say, okay, if I land 20 jabs and I hit you with one good punch and you stagger, right? They're going to give me the round because my punch had more effect. So if by your merit, well, what you're saying is Amanda landed more power shots. How's that possible? And she almost doubled her in power shots. That's what the scorecard said. I was just like, yo, bro. All right, whatever, bro. So I had to just like get over it, because I feel bad for Amanda in a way. I think Katie Taylor did a lot of great work in the fight. Of course, she won rounds in the fight, bro. Katie Taylor won rounds, bro. It's not like she went out there and Katie Taylor got wiped down. No. I see where the people say, no, she won this. Yeah, she did. I don't think she won the fight, though. That's all. A deduction of 0.2, that's a 10-8 round, bro. That's 2 rounds. So you're saying that what Amanda did plus 2 rounds wasn't good enough to win? So they would have to say that Amanda, she basically wiped Amanda down, bro, in order to pull that off. Bro, it's It's just, anyway. But he won the WBO and WBA at 105. Oscar Collazo is his name. It was ridiculous stats. Like these were things I went up and I had to look up after the fight. They didn't release it. Well, I couldn't find it until the next day. I like stood offline for like a day or two because between the Mike Tyson fight, and me being mad at the way he kind of like performed and went and made himself look, that's the last impression everybody's gonna know. And there were kids watching this. They don't know you as Iron Mike, the 23-year-old heavyweight that did remarkable shit. At Mike Tyson at 19 years old, he fought from, I think it was from 19 to 20 years old. He fought like in a 17-month span. He fought 26 times. If you go see Mike Tyson's record, you're gonna notice he fought one guy, like what was his name? Gervin. I forget his name. 15 days later, Mike Tyson fought again as a professional. He fought the next guy like 28 days later. Then he fought the next guy 14 days later. Mike was fighting 3 times a month. These guys are fighting 3 times a year. Mike fought 26 that's in 17 months. That's not the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fought. Because if that Mike Tyson showed up, Jake Paul's career would be over. He would never, ever fight again. Me lo pico. I don't believe it. That Mike Tyson against, you can get the best version of Jake Paul ever, right? No, that would be unfair. That would seriously be attempted murder. I wouldn't want Mike Tyson locked up after that. Because whoever scheduled that fight needs to go to jail. Okay? They need to be arrested. Nah, Jay couldn't fight that Mike, bro. And we all know that. We all know that. Mike was, oh my God, he was just on a different level. You see his highlights when those guys try to hit him? That what's the homeboy's name? He threw that 9-piece combination. Mike was like slip, 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 knockout. One punch. Yo, it was crazy. Yo, Mike's upper body movement was ridiculous for a heavyweight, man. And his understanding of his feet placement, it was just, he can switch on you with his feet so fast, man. I heard heavyweights that fought him talk about his footwork, Mike Tyson's, and that they thought it was highly underrated because they felt like his upper body and his lower body moved as one. It was it was like it didn't go. It was in sync, man. Mike would cut. It was like, yo, it was quick as shit. And they would say he would be right here, and then Mike would be right here, and then before you knew it, he was king, 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 and all you saw was like the bright lights, like, oh shit, look at those lights. And then you realize you were being dropped. Oh shit, what am I doing down here on the floor? Why are you counting? I ain't never been here before. Oh shit, I got knocked down. Yeah, Mike was an animal, man. Oh my God, that man was different then. He was just a hungry, driven Mike Tyson. He was just ferocious. It was different then. That's why I always say that, when by time he fought a lot of these heavyweights, unfortunately, Mike was going through his substance abuse problem, and he was a shell of himself. Cuss had already died long ago, and the remnants of Mike Tyson was holding them together for the most part. Man, Mike was going through such a bad part of his life. He even allowed Lennox Lewis to punk him for his belt. And he paid Lennox Lewis something like $4 million to like avoid from fighting him or through the belt. And it was like, it's because Mike wasn't ready to fight him. He was all substance out in a hotel room. He wasn't gonna be ready. They knew when to attack Mike. They knew. He was going through a lot of financial trouble. He had got out of prison. It was just a different Mike Tyson. And it was embarrassing to see him getting the ring with Lennox Lewis with that kind of performance that he put on. You could see that Mike Tyson of old wasn't there anymore. And Lennox Lewis took that victory like he wants to walk to the Hall of Fame with that victory. And it's sad that, Lennox Lewis, like had to beat him like that, you know. But that's not Lennox Lewis's fault. Lennox Lewis attacked him at the right time. Lennox Lewis could have fought Mike Tyson years ago when they were younger, when Mike was like in his 20s. They could have fought, but Lennox Lewis' coach at the time said Lennox Lewis wasn't ready for Mike. They said, nah, 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 he ain't ready for Mike right now. We'll wait for that fight to materialize and we'll see you further down the line. And that was the plan. But Lennox Lewis, pretty much didn't fuck with Mike until a lot of shit started happening to him, until his whole world caved in around him. You watch that money hungry, gold digging bitch. She don't got I won't give her the right to say her name. I know her name. I ain't gonna say her name. She ain't getting that out of me. And you could see that was a sham wedding. She married him and divorced him like that. Gave him like no kids or whatever. And I don't know. She was disgusting. Her and her mother, the way they used to talk, the way they had them on interviews, and the way that she bashed him on some interviews, and he was like puzzled sitting there. Mike didn't know what to say. He was going through like a weird period. He went bald. He had alopecia. Remember when Mike was fighting? He had like a patch for like 3 fights, bro. He had a patch of hair, you know, and he looked crazy. This woman had him and the drugs and everything else, and Mike's life spiraled out of control. He was no longer that threatening force that once dominated the heavyweight division. He was in an emotional, addict version, weak of himself. And Lennox Lewis attacked him. Evander Holyfield attacked him. These heavyweights knew when to attack him. But I'll always know that I don't believe and I won't believe for a second that either Evander Holyfield or Lennox Lewis could have beat 21-year-old Mike, 20-year-old Mike. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe they have anything that none of those big ass heavyweights, 6'5", 6'4", they were fast. Razor Ruddock, he was quick as shit, strong as hell. I think Ruddock would have. Ah man, like them fights, them versions of Mike, bro. He was just he was just different, bro. Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno was a massive giant of a man. Frank Bruno, young ass Mike Tyson, 20 years old, bro. I think he was 23 when he unified. He was a monster, bro. He was a monster for a reason. He's only like 5'10", right? And he's knocking out these massive sized men. And all of a sudden, like at the tail end of his career, when he was at his worst, they want me to believe that these guys just beat him like on the up and up. Like they beat that version of Mike Tyson and they pounding their chest like Lennox Lewis is like, yeah, bro. Mike Tyson was reported the night before the Lennox Lewis fight in a hotel room. It's documented. He's fucking doing coke with this dude up all night to like 4 in the morning, bro. These are all facts. Mike wasn't living a boxer's life. And Lennox Lewis is like, yeah, I beat Mike. And got Mike on interviews, detoxing off of drugs, don't know that your emotions are going high and low. Mike's crying on interviews and shit, probably crying in the shower. Don't know why he's going through this in his life because ain't nobody told him it. And he's admitting it oh, yeah, you beat me. Man, man, they know exactly when to come at him. Ask Mike that right now. I don't think he'll say it. Nah, his mind is even more clearer. And like he was a different fighter back then, bro. Yo, that white dude never died, man. That white old man. At least not died for like the first 3 or 4 years of Mike Tyson's title run. He died just before the title, man. You know, cuss. He died just before the titles. If he got that guidance and kept him away from Don King and didn't allow that, back then, you know, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But it is what it is. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Lennox beat him. Fucking Evander beat him. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? That's not their fault. Mike did that to himself. And that's the outcome. But I like to remember, just like everybody has their favorite, and everybody likes to remember Roy Jones Jr. for what Roy Jones Jr. was in his prime, right? They don't want to talk about the 10 losses and the 8 knockouts, Roy Jones Jr. Then let's not talk about that one. Let's talk about the dominant force that was Roy Jones, right? Everybody has their favorite, and I'm just like, man, I think Mike was different when he was younger like that, man. All sales are final. What are you guys talking about? For anyone who orders what? Armando's what? What food? Die for it. Yo, you guys ain't no joke. Listen, Armando, what is going on with the Notre Dame's world title here? Bam and all his allegations. What's going on, man? Yo, Frontline sent the contract the last time you signed it. You know what I mean? I like that. I like that. Frontline, you little shisty promoter, you. Yo, so tell me guys, what was like one of the fights that was controversial? Okay, another fight that was pretty controversial. Well, I guess controversial in a few areas, right? Let's talk about it. William Cepeda and Farmer. Being the fact, I'm not sure if any of you guys paid attention to this, but Farmer went on and said that he's wondering why they didn't steroid test him and William Cepeda. And even after the fight, they didn't test him. And then William Cepeda gets dropped in the fight, and all of a sudden he has like this high output. And as soon as Farmer said that about going into the fight, Farmer said everybody on this card is being tested right now for steroids. Everybody on the card. Because he checked, I guess. He said the only two fighters on this card is me and him. And I'm requesting to be tested, Farmer said. He said, yo, I haven't been tested. I want to be tested. It's all right. We'll call you. Never called him. And he went and reported himself in. They still didn't give him a test while requesting one. Go figure, right? So that doesn't look good. Whether or not there's truth behind it, that doesn't mean that Cepeda was using drugs. I can't say that. But damn. You asked for a drug test and they still haven't given it to you, and the fight's over with, and you're still waiting for them to call you back. What about Cepeda being tested for the fight? Not one time he was tested. Every other fighter on the card, it's public record. Go look it up. They all got tested. But them two are the only ones that don't have no registered test. So, I mean, like I said, this does not mean Cepeda's dirty, but shit. That makes me think. Okay. Edwin. Yes. In your experience, watching fights, being at fights, being a part of fights, have you ever heard, right? Wait a minute. All right, listen. Check this out, right? William Cepeda has not fought for a world championship. And it's almost guaranteed in every world title fight, they're going to take your blood and urine. As long as you stay out of the world championship fights, you pretty much go undetected unless, it's like, what do you call that? Like some title eliminators, it can be a request, but not a mandatory thing. So if he's fought his way all the way up to be the number one in every organization, but never actually competed for a world championship where they definitively start testing you, Because after every world title fight, you see the fighter on stage, they got the little gauze with the tape, and they're sitting there like this, and you could see it. As soon as you get out of the ring, the athletic body commission guy, he follows you, he escorts you. You are not allowed to go in the bathroom by yourself. No, they're going to give you a cup, and when you get out, they're going to draw a tube of your blood. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, shit, he did fight his way up, not only just in one organization, but all four, but never crossed the line where you knew it was going to be a mandatory thing. Because in order to compete for a title, it's mandatory. You got to submit to a drug test by the organization. Every one of them has it, whether or not they use it or apply it, right? You don't want to be that guy that gets caught. There are some world title fights, they got no suspicion, no foul play, they're allowing you to do it. And all of a sudden, you get a fight and you get popped. Conor Ben. They let you go on for a little while, then you get popped. Saul Canelo Alvarez. Right? This is a cat and mouse game with the doping agency and some of these athletes. They're just waiting to catch these athletes. These doping agencies are not on their side. Like I said before, and I'll say it again. What do you think they say at the doping agency while the two agents are by the bubbler? They're over there drinking water. Who'd you catch this week? Oh, I got a big one. I got 2 baseball players and 3 minor league players. Did you get a superstar? No, not yet. Not yet. Just waiting to catch one of these dudes. Put their head on a mantle in their office, on the athletes they have on their wall. If they could only catch Barry Bonds and put him on the wall. They have a few of them. Ryan Garcia's head's up there, ain't he? He's right up there next to Saul and Conor Ben and Alicia Bungar. And the list goes on. Right? These people are not their friends. So they're trying to catch them. Believe me, they're trying to catch them. Right? So these athletes can cheat for so long. But it begs the question. Wow, Cepeda. Where it is actually mandatory for the title fight. You've been fighting like this, 100 punches around type shit, massive volume, and you got dropped. The steroid doesn't make him a better fighter. No, it doesn't. No. But it does give him stamina, endurance, where that he's able to sustain that. If he was taking a PE or something, and when he finally fights for a world title, if I swear to goodness, if you see a drop in his output of punches per round and you see him get tired, you're going to know he was on the stuff. You're going to know it. Because if he's been doing it basically his entire career, being the number 1 ranked in every one, come on, bro, read the signs. All of a sudden, on the day he gets his title fight, what? He's not going to look like that? He's not in the 12th round. He's not going to throw 100 punches like he was against Farmer. Farmer was wilting under the pressure because Farmer was like, damn, I ain't never fought a robot like this. Somebody that threw this many punches. But you can't really say nothing about Cepeda because when you look back at his last fight and his last fight and his last fight, you're going to be like, yeah, he threw 100 punches every round in those fights too. So you're not going to see nothing. But where you're going to really be able to tell, mark my words, where you're really going to be able to tell is when all of a sudden in the title fight, He doesn't look anything like that. And then all of a sudden he's gonna say, "Oh, Shakur Stevenson was just better." No, it makes me think. It makes me think. Just makes me think. I'm not saying that he is. Not saying that he isn't. I'm saying Farmer said this. This is what Farmer said. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying he's guilty. I, I didn't say any of that. All I said, Farmer made me go, And he just did, because I'm like, wait a minute. No wonder he moved up and never challenged any of the champions. He just consistently stood until he was finally number one across the board. How many times have you ever seen that in the sport of boxing? Be honest. With that, there's one guy that's number one across the board and has never competed for a world championship. How do you do that? Eventually, one of those belts, you wouldn't have got to the fourth one without at least one of the three acknowledging you or giving you an opportunity, because years had to have gone by. You didn't become number one in 6 months. That took a couple years to do. You see what I'm saying? So now that he said it, I'm like, really? What you mean they didn't test you? Farmer was like, yeah, I requested. I said, yo, dope, I'm right here. You want to know something? I would like you to test me. Farmer, yes, we will test you. Yes, go back to your hotel room. We're going to give you a call. He's still waiting for the call. Fight's over. They still haven't called him yet. So I'm like, what do you say to that? What am I going to say? Farmer, you're just, what are you lying about? You're lying about going to tell them to test you? You're lying about them actually not testing you? Because there's no record of them testing you. So what you're saying is true. They prove to me you tested them. Then that would mean that Farmer's lying, right? If the doping agent is, yeah, we just tested you last week, Farmer. So what are you talking about? It's right here, right? They can't do that. Just prove him to be a liar. But you can't do that. So if he's not a liar, then what is he telling? I don't know, guys. So I know his story could be true. But is Cepeda, no, you can't say that. I know what he tried to do. I know what he's trying to set light, eyes on Farmer. But can you definitively say that Cepeda's on something? No. Did they catch him on something? No. So no. Then no. Until you catch him or you can prove it otherwise, then in my eyes, he's a clean fighter. Cepeda's a clean fighter. Until proven otherwise. Because you're not going to smear a guy's name just because you think something. Cepeda goes out there, punches a million punches in the title fight. Now what the fuck you got to say? So you can't just come out with no proof. Words are cheap. I understand Farmer, what he's trying to do, what he's trying to say. That doesn't make Cepeda a cheater. No, it doesn't. Did you catch him with it? No. Nope. But you got the right to speak your mind. And if you think or suspect foul play in your match, Farmer has the right to speak upon it, in which he did. So now it's up to them to prove him right. Or Cepeda get bagged with something. Now, Cepeda gets bagged with something. Hey, that's what athletes take the risk of tarnishing their careers, their legacies, everything they worked for. Some people may have done all the majority of this stuff without steroids, get hurt, don't want to call it quits. A little guy comes out, hey, you can take this right here, you'll be back to new, even better. They start doing the steroid, get busted, and now the whole world's saying your entire career was. And he's like, no, 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 no. I swear to you. But you think they're gonna believe you? You think you deserve to be believed, even if it was true. That was the first time you did it. The first month you got busted. Everything you did is tarnished now. Although you might have did it legit, that's the risk you take from taking that shit. So I can't feel sorry for the guy that was really just, yo, that fucking month, boom, he just tried it. You know, he tore his ACL or something, and they allow you to do steroids and PE off because you're recovering. So you're not an active player. So you're off the depth chart. So you can use it to recover. And some guys don't get off of it. They like the way they felt on it, how they felt stronger. They were able to rep more sets. They were able to go longer. Um, and some guys just was like, man, I'm a better player when I'm on it. I can do it. It's still me. And it's just this is enhancing everything I at my top level. But that's cheating. So and to the guy that was cheating his entire career that never got caught, that it was paying people off and finally got caught and he starts crying. Oh, I was only doing it last month. Bullshit. His entire career was a doping career. You know, so where do we draw the line? You know, who's telling the truth? You're going to have to find them all guilty the same. So it is what it is. Tank versus Shakur would be a very technical fight until it isn't. You said that right, Frontline. Uh, for as technical as that Shakur Stevenson is, the technical fighter he is, the smart, crafty fighter, at some point he's going to have to engage with Tank Davis. At some point, the crowd, you already blew those performances where you could win the fight with a jab. The judges, the boxing people, you gave away those fights already, Shakur, where that they were viewing you as the next best thing, and the boxing gods will back you. And at that time, you got to remind everybody you had Bob Arum in your corner, Shakur Stevenson. And if Bob Arum likes you as a fighter, right, you might get a win. As Shakur Foster had to find out fighting against a top rank opponent, right? As Bruce Carrington found out he got a little help for Uncle Bob, right? So you had Bob Arum in your corner, Shakur Stevenson, when you did some of these lackluster performances. And even though Bob Arum talks shit, you're still his fighter. You still got the W, right? You don't got Uncle Bob anymore. You don't got anybody backing you like that. You go in there and you try to do that dancing shit with Tank. The one thing, honestly, Shakur Stevenson could dance all night around Tank. Tank's not the best fighter cutting the ring. He's not the best at it. You would have to be a little bit better at it to stop a fighter like Shakur. See, Shakur, what he does is he has like a two-step lead on you already, meaning he's not so close to you where that shuffle won't give him about a 3-foot distance. Just him sidestepping back. Place the back foot, pick up the front foot, and put down the front foot and shift. You're already like 3 feet away from Tank. He can do that all night. He'll never cross the threshold. Every time Tank tries to come in with that pressure, swinging up top shit, Shakur's going to pepper him and just rotate either to the right or to the left. With a big enough size ring, I don't think Tank will catch up to him. Eventually, you would like to think so. But let's just remember who Shakur Stevenson is. He is incredibly ring smart. He has smart feet, really smart feet. And he could see Tank's punches coming. So if he chose to evade and not engage Tank, Shakur could run all night. He could do that all night on Tank. Tank is not going to be it. He doesn't have the best footwork. Nah. Tank's good. He has okay footwork, but it's not like he has to cut the ring off to find these guys. Most of the guys that he was fighting were fighting him, and he was allowing them to win a round or two, get the guy with courage. Oh, yeah, I'm beating Tank. I'm beating Tank. All of a sudden, the guy stands his ground, and then once again, he's like, oh, shit, pretty lights. Boom. And Tank just sets him up like that. He allowed, yeah, you're winning rounds. Yeah, just get a little closer. That's it. It's over. But Shakur Stevenson already knows that. He's not going to get close to Tank. But at some point, you're going to have to make the fight interesting. And that 1-2 jab, 1-2 step back that Shakur got, Tank's burst game, his burst to the guy, is fast as fuck, boy. It's fast. That's fast, right? Like I said, Shakur's gonna buy himself the 2 feet distance he always keeps on his opponent. So even though Tank's that fast, Shakur's job all night is just gonna be to understand the distance between him and Tank. That's all he has to understand. He just has to make sure Tank is at the right distance all night. That's basically it. And then Tank's going to have a lot of trouble trying to catch up to him. And that's going to be the fight. I see Tank in the middle of the ring complaining. Yo, you going to fight me? Like getting frustrated of chasing him. I've seen those fights before. I've seen outcomes like that before where Shakur is not going to try to give any man in the world the, you know what I'm saying, the recognition of being the first man to knock him out. He's just not going to give you that. And unless you're fighting Shakur Stevenson's fight, he's going to run. He showed you in Edwin De Los Santos. He showed you how gun-shy he was in his last fight. He criticized Devin Haney for not going in on the kill when he fought Regis Progress. Shakur Stevenson has not been showing that he's that monster, that big puncher. Where did all his power go? Minute he leaves, 130 comes up. What he got? One knocked out? One? Knocked out one guy up here? That's it. Edwin De Los Santos fight is probably on record for the lowest 135-pound fight in the history of fights, in the 42-year history of boxing, right? Since we started counting anyway. Between him and Edwin, they threw 112 punches in 12 rounds. Between the both of them. All Edwin's punches tallied up. All Shakur Stevenson's punches tallied up. 112 punches, some shit like that for 12 rounds. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. When there's fighters that throw 100 punches a round in one round, just him by himself, not even tallying up his opponent's punches per round. Just one fighter, 100 punches. These dudes threw 112 combined for 12 rounds. Yo, I would not want my name on a stat like that. Those are records and stats you don't want to be a part of. Yo, when they be like, yo, who had the most boringest fight on the planet fucking Earth? Oh, Shakur Stevenson. Look at, they threw an astounding. Bro, that means like Shakur threw like 40 something punches, 50 punches, 56 punches or some shit. And this dude threw like fucking 54 punches. Like that stat was ridiculous. They had to throw like whatever, bro. That's just ridiculous, bro. That wasn't even a fight, bro. So those are kind of records you don't want your name to be a part of. As a boxer, anyway, that's fucking embarrassing, bro. You don't want to. Oh, the most boring fight in history. The top 10 most boring fights in history. You know he's gonna be on it. He's I don't know where you place him, but he's in the top 10. Right? Yeah. Yo. Oh my God. No, Remingdow, when Remingdow ran, I swear to goodness he was on drugs that day. He was like, he just kept running. Yo, I never seen nothing like that. If you fast forward that fight, all you'll see is a guy like here, like this, just following a guy. Yo, that was a bad fight. Remingdow, that was a bad fight. That was a really bad fight. Yeah. And then you had the expectation. The whole time I was like sitting there saying to myself, the fight's gonna break out now. Now the fight's gonna break out. Okay. What round are we in? The 8th round, bro? Come on, yo. Yo, it was crazy, man. That fight was bad. So, you don't ever want to be a part of that shit. He's the number 1 contender in all 4. Cepeda. There's nothing left for him to do but to fight one of the champions. That's but the champions that are at 135, I think is where the problem lies, because you got Shakur Stevenson's WBC, you got Tank Davis, the WBA. Like, are you fucking shitting me? Both these guys are in the same division. And then you got the one and only Ukrainian fighter in Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko. That's still Vasily, bro. 2-time gold medalist. So, like, when you look at the champions, you're like, what the hell? But, why didn't he go after the WBO? The other Ukrainian fighter, or what's going on with that? I'm hearing that Keyshawn Davis now is starting to slide in for that belt. So where does that leave Cepeda if he was the number 1 guy? What is it good is it if you're the number 1 guy and these other guys are just hopping over you and you're like cool with it? You're fighting guys like Farmer rather than the champion, Cepeda. Now Keyshawn Davis is literally going to jump over you and fight, from what I'm hearing, for that WBO. And Cepeda, you've been the WBO number 1 guy. Pretty soon, Shakur Stevenson's going to fight another guy, and then Tank's going to fight somebody else. Everybody but Cepeda. So now I'm starting to wonder. I'm like, come on, man. How long has he been the number 1 guy for all these belts? And he still ain't fought. But everybody's going on past him. They fighting everybody else but you. And it happens to be with these Oscar De La Hoya fighters, man. And I don't want to you know, what Oscar De La Hoya does and his fighter does are two different things, man, puppy. Right? But damn, Oscar, you got two of the biggest ducks in the world, my man. And you claiming to be but Oscar, listen, my man. And listen, and I said it. Yeah, I said it. Ducks. Right? Oscar, you can say whatever you want. Explain to me how you're becoming the number one in 4 sanctioning bodies, bro. And never fought for a belt. I'll wait. Explain how Virgil Ortiz was Terrence Crawford and still getting interim belts. I'll wait. It doesn't look good for them. Yeah, Virgil's undefeated.
Stop the cap.
Right? But shit. Oscar, you got to stop this. You got to stop saying these guys are not scared of nobody. That Ortiz wants to beat up Terrence Crawford. That's a lie. Virgil Ortiz wants to fight all the champions. That's a lie. How many more organizations is he going to be the number one? Is he going to try to be the number one for the IBO next? Is he going to try to be the number one for them too? Before you feel like he can fight for a goddamn world title, bro. Come on, man, Oscar. You know it like I know it, bro. It just doesn't make sense. The writing on the wall, Oscar, bro. It doesn't make sense, bro. Yeah, I want to not believe that Cepeda would duck any of these guys. I don't think that Mexican fighters are scared of any fighters. I think Mexican fighters are fucking strong fucking fighters, bro. And they'll give anybody a run for their money, if not beat them. So they got a long legendary history with their fighters. So it's tough for me to be on Mexican dudes, because I think those dudes will fight anybody, bro. Those are some boxing dudes, man. They were raised to fight, man. They were born to fight, the Mexican dudes. Hell yeah. They get it on, baby. So when I hear Mexican fighters, I'm like, who they fighting? Where they at? Where the smoke? Right? But these ones in this era, Oscar, you might have a point when you was like, I don't understand. In my era, in my time, we fought the best. I don't understand these kids today that they claim to want to fight the best. And that came out of Oscar De La Hoya's mouth. And I got to agree with him. Oscar was the man, though. Oscar, you listen, pantyhose aside, pictures, cocaine parties, snow bunnies running around, Oscar De La Hoya to the side. That's his personal life, bro. And if you ask me, the man's having fun. Sometimes you might have a little bit too much fun and end up in a P. Diddy party. But hey, at least you could say you were there, I guess, if you're into that, right? Go figure, But all that bullshit to the side, Oscar De La Hoya, when he was boxing, there is, and if you say this, you're just a hater. That man fought the best. He fought the best fighters. Oscar De La Hoya, he fought the best of the best of the best. And that's all I can say for him. And that's just the fucking truth. He was a dog. Oscar, he was a dog. For a man that never wanted to box, he started off his career never wanting to box. He was forced to box by his dad. Oscar De La Hoya hated boxing because he never wanted to get punched in the face. He never wanted to damage that cute little face of his. In fact, he took it as an insult every time he did get hit in the face coming up as a young fighter. His goal was never to get hit. He didn't like to get hit. So, under the thumb of his father molded the man that he is, but his father was a little bit too much of a boxing Nazi, where that his father was like, Oscar couldn't even talk in the media. His father would push him right to the side. Hey, yeah, and I'm here. Yeah. So Oscar's, that's good because of me. and because he owes everything to me. And then my son beat that guy because of me, because of my training, and because I did this. And Oscar and his dad's ego was so big that they collided. And Oscar wanted to date girls and shit at the time. He was like 19, 18. He wanted to date some girls, and his dad was like, no. He was like, straight cock blocking. And Oscar was like, bro, I'm like a professional boxer. He probably was a virgin. I don't know. And he was like, yo, I'm trying to fire one of these off, and you in the way. So I think when his Oscar got to a position in his career where like his managers, lawyers, all these greedy people, they was like, yo, we'll get you an apartment, a house over here. You can move out away from it. So like a thief in the night, Oscar like left his dad, and his dad got caught wind of it on like whatever like media we had back then. And it was a big back and forth between Oscar and his father, and it like played out for as much as it, played out, because back then when shit like that would played out, they would actually go on like talk show things. He'd be like on Donahue or something. You know what I'm saying? 60 Minutes with Oscar De La Hoya and his father. 60 Minutes, right? They would actually have to go on like TV shows to like do what social media does now in like 15 minutes. Like right now, they could call Oscar, put the iPhone on, and get the interview. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like when you watched it unfold and shit, and it came out that Oscar, in fact, hated boxing. He never, ever, ever wanted to become a boxer. It wasn't his plan. It wasn't his vision. It's not what he wanted to do. He was forced into boxing all the way by his father. And because of what his father made, though, is the legend and the promoter and everything he's doing in the sport of boxing. If you was to ask Oscar right now, what do you feel for boxing? He would look at you and go, what you mean what I feel for boxing? I own the Ringside magazine. I did this. I'm a promoter. What you mean? Boxing's my life. And that came from a man that never wanted a box to begin with. His father made that legend. He did the rest and got away, and then bad people came into his life, and then Oscar went through all that shit. But still, yo, he fought the fucking best. That man got Pernell Whitaker under his record. He got Felix Trinidad. Yo, the list goes on. Bernal Hopkins, of all the men, Julio Cesar Chavez. Yo, Oscar De La Hoya's record, fucking legends are made with that record, bro. There are some people in the Hall of Fame that couldn't touch his record, bro. Of the men that he shared the circle with, the square circle, man, get the fuck out of here. Oscar got a pretty impressive record, man. He got some dogs on his record. Like, I was like, shit. But back then, there was a lot of good talent and stuff. And, Oscar got a pretty impressive record, bro. A resume. You look at all those fucking sometimes I forget who he was until I start talking about him. And I'm like, man, he did fight. You know what I mean? And it just goes on. But, that's some of these guys, man. Right now we're watching some of, look at Oscar Collazo. We were just talking about him a little while ago. Another Puerto Rican fighter became unified, and that's big. That's big. That's big. Let's see where he can go from. Can he get a third? Can he get four? Can he be the first to unify four in a four-borough era for Puerto Rico? Oscar Collazo. And can he move up another weight division and try to do something like that? Or can Oscar Collazo be the Puerto Rican fighter we were looking for that can surpass Miguel Cotto in four weight divisions? Miguel Cotto is our strongest Puerto Rican fighter with four weight divisions. That's the weight division thing that carries a lot of weight, unfortunately, in the sport of boxing when you can be a multiple division world champion. not just a one or a two. One or two is basic common. One is great among champions, hard to do just to get one. Very hard to do. Very hard. But amongst champions, two division is the most common. Once you start breaking 3, 4, that's where you're talking. That's where you start to cement your legacy to the Hall of Fame. Miguel Cotto is in the Hall of Fame because of the fact that he has 4 divisions, as a Puerto Rican world champion. Yes, he is. Just for that alone, he's going to the Hall of Fame. So that's how important that shit is. Mayweather has 5. Miguel Cotto is just one underneath, possibly one of the greatest fighters of all time. Mayweather only has 5 divisions. It's where the men get maxed out. It's very rare when you're going to get this guy that can jump through a course of divisions like that and carry his power and fight against other guys and move out throughout the divisions and pack on the weight correctly and be able to move in that weight. That is just so damn hard to do. I can't even begin to describe it. It sounds easy. 3 pounds, 4 pounds. Doesn't sound like much. Shit, I know people that took a shit and farted and lost 3 pounds. It doesn't sound like much, but sure is. In the boxing world, 3 or 4 pounds, it's about a 14-pound difference in reality. When you're talking 3 to 4 pounds, it's about a 14-pound difference. That's where you're going with that, because when you think about moving from the 122 to the 126, right? Okay. That's 4 pounds. So let's talk about it. You gain the 4 pounds and you land in 126. What do you think the guy at 126 is fighting at? 126? No, he's cutting weight. How much weight is he cutting? 13 pounds of water he drained out of his body to make 126. The next day, he's going to replenish. He's going to gain an additional 13 to 16 pounds. Anywhere in between there. And all gain was the 4 pounds from 122 to 126. How much more weight did you gain than the after? See, you're not a natural 126 pounder. You're just trying to put on some weight. So the next night, you might gain 4 to 5 pounds. When the guy you're fighting was a much bigger fighter cutting weight. So when you're hearing 122 to 126, 4-pound difference, what you're not taking into account is that other guy was never 126 pounds to begin with. This mofo is walking around 150 pounds. He trains, cuts some weight leading into the fight, and the last 13 pounds, they sweat it out in the sauna. They rehydrate the night before, and they bulk up like Devin Haney. So that little 4-pound jump you thought, that's 14-pound risk in reality. And you're maxing yourself out, just like Floyd did at 154. Floyd didn't belong at 154. He maxed, man, he's the only dude I know that the day after, when they weighed in, he didn't even make the 154, right? He was like under by like 3 or 4 pounds. I can't remember exact weight. The next day, reportedly, he gained 2 pounds. Yo, Floyd he was maxed out. When Floyd was actually fighting at his walk around weight, He was lit. Yo, you look at Floyd right now. He weighs 154 right now. And he's old. You're supposed to gain more weight when you get older, a little fatter. So he's actually fatter, right? Floyd was legitimately fighting at his walk around weight. Miguel Cotto put on like 18, 19 pounds the day of the fight. It was ridiculous. There was no weight claw, no 10-pound rehydration. Floyd fought these dudes and let them put on all the weight they wanted. These guys were huge, bro, compared to Floyd. And Floyd took those punches. Floyd had a pretty good chin, bro. He did. He really did, man. He took Miguel. Yo, not a lot of guys could take Miguel Cotto's punches like that. Hell no. Miguel would have dropped most of them dudes with them shots, man. Hell yeah. Lesser foe would have fell, man. It just goes to show you, man, Mayweather was on some shit, man. He doesn't get a lot of credit for it because of, I guess he turned a lot of people off with his flamboyant lifestyle and always money, 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 money. I guess that could turn people off. I always saw it as a gimmick once I knew what he was doing. There was a part of me that was like sick and tired of it too. I was like, somebody needs to knock this motherfucker out, right? But and then when I looked at it with a different set of lens, I realized there was one part that boxing must be WWE entertainment. You're gonna have to talk some shit. You're gonna have to be the Ric Flair of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Woo! Remember the $1 Million Man? He had the $1 Million belt, and he always came out and threw money, and he smacked you in the face with a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And people were real sick of his ass. But he walked around with his diamond belt, all gold with the diamonds on it. And didn't you tune in to see that diamond ass belt? It wasn't a world championship, but boy, you wanted it, didn't you? Uh-huh. And he came up with the suitcase. If you beat me, you get $1 million. That was an act, a gimmick. And Floyd Mayweather saw men like that. A light bulb went off in his head. He just started throwing money, diamonds. You broke, nigga. Blah, 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 fuck you. Blah, 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 blah. And just talking that talk. And he sold his fights, bro. He sold them. You either paid to want to see him win, or you were paying to see if somebody beat him. Either way, you were paying to watch him. And he did his job. He definitely did his job as it goes in for that. But yeah, guys, look, man, we got a lot of good fights coming up. We have a lot of good fights scheduled right now. This David Morrell, man, listen. Hey, do me a favor. Hit that like button for me, please. One time. We got David Morrell coming. David the Monster Benavidez. Man, all the action's going to start in round one. Every fight starts in round one. Believe that. And I want to see this fight card right here. Interesting enough, Isa Pitbull Cruz is fighting on the fight card. Romas, Rosada is fighting. And then that's another thing. That is another thing. Didn't Isa Pitbull Cruz have a rematch clause with Jose Valenzuela that they could have went back, and then the reports was that Tank Davis was going to move up to fight him, but Tank's in the contract to have him move down to 135. Then Jose left his coach, left David the Monster Benavidez, his father, high and dry. Now, all of a sudden, I turn on a press conference, and it's true. Pitbull Cruz is sitting in the press conference. You know what I'm saying? And he's waiting for an opponent. And I'm like, what? What the fuck is Isa Pitbull Cruz doing? So if Isa Pitbull Cruz was free to fight anyone he wanted, Well, then what happened with the fight with Tank Davis and Jose Valenzuela? Because I was in the impression when they announced that, I was like, for real.
Stop the cap.
You listen, you can't announce that fight, Jose, because you still were coming into an agreement and you had a rematch with Isa Pitbull Cruz. So legally, you couldn't even talk to Tank if that was true. I'm going by they had a rematch call put in place. So if that was true, then I was like, yo, Jose, Tank, come on, man. That guys don't believe that shit because he can't do anything. Now I see Isa Pitbull Cruz fighting who? And I'm like, I'm sitting back and I'm saying to myself, this is fucking boxing, bro. This is boxing. Like, this is truly the Wild Wild West. These motherfuckers can actually do and fight whoever the hell they want to. And it seems like they can put together these fights. Isa Pitbull Cruz is not sitting around to wait on a shelf for Jose, right? Does that set him free from the rematch? Obviously. Tank Davis, where's your opponent? Would that be better than Lamont Roach? Then Tank Davis and David the Monster Benavidez, that's final. They're not fighting on the same card. They're not running that back. David the Monster Benavidez is headlining. He's not sharing the spotlight with Tank. So a lot of these rumors and false claims have just been solved right before your eyes. And a lot of these things have just been answered. Some we're still up in the dark with. Who is Tank fighting? I don't believe it anymore. The dates are changing. The opponents might change. You know how boxing goes. You've seen this before. So don't be surprised. Tank Davis's opponent changes. I'm just saying. I would love to see Tank back in the ring. Shit, I'll take Lamont Roach on a activity alone just to see a fighter like that back in the ring. That I know is going to bring me excitement, blood. Tell me you're not going to tune in for a Tank Davis fight. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to get excitement. You might get that wow, oh shit moment. When you watch his fight, it never goes to the scorecard. So there's no scorecards read at a Tank Davis fight. So that's what you're getting. So on activity alone, I'll take Lamont Roach. I'll take anybody at this point. Then we'll figure it out on the next one. But I know that puts more pressure on him. I know he only got so many fights that you could just slide by Tank. Eventually, you're gonna have to fight these guys. And a lot of questions will be answered on that night. So fight fans, listen, guys. You guys are amazing. What's up, man? What do you got? Oh, Orlando con Frontline. Richie. What's up, Richie? How you doing? Frontline, Bam, Armando. You guys are always here, always supporting the channel. And thank you for that, guys. Oh, and I got another announcement, but I'm going to announce it on the live about the Notre Dame. And we're actually going to get a prize for this Notre Dame shit. Yeah, I decided we're going to do something about it. So when you win, I'm going to send you something and we're going to put it up on that night type thing. And just you know what I'm saying? I think I'm going to make a t-shirt of the Notre Dame. I've been slacking on the t-shirts a little bit, but it was because my printer, it blew up like about 3-4 weeks ago. I haven't really said anything about it, so I ordered another one. It came in, so I got the system to connect. It's behind here. I just got that system to connect to the Cricut and so forth. So I'm gonna get the operation going with the shirts back going up. I really didn't want to be like, oh, my printer broke, all that other shit. I just wait until I saved up a couple dollars, and then I got that. I got the new one, but I gotta get red, the ink. I got blue, yellow, shit like that because it came with it. When it was in like the 3 colors that came with it with the printer when you first buy it, those are the 3 colors that I have. That's it. So I got to get some other colors so that it can make the patterns. But as soon as I got it, I was thinking about it and I was like, yo, that would be really cool, for participating in it. If you could win it, I would send you a round one Notre Dame Sports Talk t-shirt for winning the prestigious Notre Dame. And I thought that would be cool. And I had bought a lot of t-shirts anyway that I got there. So um I got a few that, yeah, man, so I was like, I think that would be great. So let me work on this. Let me work. I still haven't got the red ink. I gotta get out there and get that red one and get the thing. I printed it. This is what it looked like, my first print. Let me show you guys. Check it out. Check it out. All right. So when you like buy the printer, I was the first one to print it, and it says like congratulations. It like allows you. It's like, yeah, you're the first person to print, and it'll show you the print. But it showed me the colors. I didn't even notice it. So like the black, and it had like a little blue, and these are like the guides of the Wi-Fi, how to connect it. So the computer sends you all that shit. So anyway, I printed the round one sports talk. You see where everything's yellow? That should be red. You see, this all should be red. And then it's like took the yellow and blue and the computer made like a green itself out of the colors it had. It tried to make its own red with the yellow. That's, the computer was like, that's the closest. So I saw what the problem was. And then I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, so I'm working on it. And that was the first print right there. And then I printed like I got coffee stains on it. I was working. I put the coffee, but I wanted to see colors, and that's what the printer made. You see how it doesn't have the belt? The IBF isn't red. See it down there? So I gotta get those colors. So that's what I'm doing. So I just want to get the right colors so when I make the patterns and then the transfer, um, it will transfer over to the shirts and etc. And then I could put the round one, I mean the Notre Dame symbol the way I got it up with all the colors and shit. So that's what I'm doing, guys. So man, listen, guys. It's been like a year now. Bam Bam. Shut up, bro. Yo, hey, listen, I'm a one-man crew here. And at one point I took on more than I could handle. And with my everyday life, my daughter, everything, the yard got to get mowed and shit, and leaves got to be raked. And with doing shows every night, I had all the ambition in the world to tackle all this on and get it all done. And then sometimes you just shit happens, bro. And then when the printer broke, I was like, fuck, and whatever. But I got some, things going a little bit, but I'll get a routine, and everything seems hard at first, but once you do it again in life, it gets that much shorter. I noticed it was hard editing these videos, but now that I'm getting better and better, I'm putting these things up quicker, faster, and everything. Every time you keep doing it, you'll cut down your work process. I'm hoping that that's what happens with these shirts. The more tricks of the trade I learned, the faster I can get them up and going, this, that, and the third. But I had good intentions to doing all this shit. I'm just by myself. That's all. And with my everyday life, but nevertheless, it's not that I'm ignoring anything or forgetting about anything. Believe me, Armando, I know I got you, bro. I just have to put this shit together, bro. So bear with me, man. But I know you guys believe in me, and I'm gonna bring it to the promised land, bro. And we're gonna bring this show up, and we're gonna talk about boxing. So listen, fight fans. Listen, you guys are always amazing. Thank you for supporting, subscribing, being members. Thank you to all the members out there that pay a member fee and allow me to keep this going and buy software and to save up a couple dollars here and here and to bring you guys new things for the channel. You guys can see that everything that I get from this channel and even out of my own pocket, I put it into the sport that I'm passionate about. And I love boxing. I love talking about boxing. My name is Edwin. You guys have been the best here at Round One Sports Talk. I'm on to the next after this one. You guys be good.